Meditation is quite misunderstood in many ways. I have not missed a day for the last 828 days, not a day. Why? Because of neuroplasticity, by the way. Because neuroplasticity is not about meditating for 4 hours one day and then stopping the next day. It's about meditating every single day. Meditation, if done right, will flip your life upside down because it's basically firing the correct neurons that allow you to take control of your own brain. So when your brain tries to wander, you can bring it back and say, calm down. We want to focus on our breathing, or we want to focus on this, or we want to focus on that. And that ability is incredibly valuable in times where your brain starts to chatter. People who meditate frequently, they have a bigger prefrontal cortex and a bigger insula. So the brain literally reconfigures itself. With that ability, when your brain starts to wander, you go like, hold on, let's focus. We don't want to think about this, we want to think about that. Now, the challenge with meditation and why it's not done correctly is twofold. Fold number one is that people do not do it regularly enough as we do going to the gym. It has to be a regular practice that is constantly happening every single day so that neuroplasticity starts to take place. The second is we think that meditation is about calming the brain. One of my favorite guests on the podcast was a monk called Galen Tupton. Galen Tupton is the top monk in the UK. And he basically was saying, no. It's all about your brain wandering. The idea is if you go to the gym, your success is not to carry an empty bar 100 times. Your success is that the bar is difficult enough for you to actually practice, use the muscle. And so that mind wandering, that idea of your brain actually going out of focus and then you calling it back to silence, that calling it back to silence is what meditation is all about. And if your mind doesn't wander, you wouldn't do that move that's so good for you. Most people who give up on meditation, they give up because they say, I can't do it. I can't focus. Yeah, you're doing it. That's the absolute best thing you can do is to get out of it and then pull yourself back, even if it takes you 5 minutes to pull back, or you spend the whole day and you don't pull back, but tomorrow you pull back. That pull back is the muscle movement that creates that neuroplasticity that makes us more focused. In my third book, I talk about something I call deliberate attention. Deliberate attention is an idea of being able to take control of your brain. The lack of deliberate attention, believe it or not, is highly associated with almost all mental illnesses. Everything from ADD, ADHD to substance abuse, to addiction, to depression, and so on and so forth, is associated with a lack of ability to regulate the functions of the brain, that wandering brain. And I had a very loved person in my life that was highly ADD. As a result of that, was constantly depressed. And my advice was simply, all I ask for is 5 minutes a day. I use a device to measure so that you can actually know how well you're doing, and when you're mind wandering, you can go back quicker. And I asked the person to use that. And in no time at all, they're like literally in 4 weeks, their life flipped upside down. 10 minutes a day, that was all. So it's invaluable if you do it correctly. If you don't do it as a regular practice, then you're fooling yourself because you feel amazing during the meditation and then you're not building the brain circuitry. So when you leave it, you're no longer able to use that. I write in a very strange way. I write like a software engineer. So my books are actually produced in a beta version, and then I put them online, and literally I asked 300 people to go in and edit the book. So in my first book, 300 people filled a survey of their state of happiness. 8% of them were actually depressed. So they wrote openly, I'm suffering depression. All 8%, without exception, every single one of them dropped out on page 11. Because on page 11, I wrote, happiness is a choice. And that's really, really eye-opening. When someone has decided they want to be unhappy, all the tools in the world, all of your attention, all of your time is not going to change a thing. The only thing that will change them, believe it or not, and I know that to work really, really every single time, is to pour love on them. The only thing that worked is when someone is unhappy, don't tell them, why are you like that? Don't tell them, I wish you were different. All of that is making them unhappier. In one of my favorite conversations, a British psychologist and TV star that was called Ruby Wax. And Ruby suffered many episodes in her life of depression. And she will tell you, I don't know. When I am depressed, it's like someone cut my skull open and filled my entire head and body with concrete. Can't do anything. So if you tell me to be happy and you give me advice, I can't do anything about it. The trick here is give them a reason to want to be happy. And the only reason that always gets to every single one of us, is love. Pour love on them and be very deliberate in it. So write down a list of memories you share with them, write down a list of experience you'd like to share with them, and text them every now and then and say, hey, by the way, I passed by this ice cream shop. It was so wonderful when we went here last time. I love you very much. Let's do it again. The next day you say, hey, by the way, I remember the time when you did this and that. I'm so grateful for what you did for me. I love you very much. I hope to see you soon. Never bringing up that they're unhappy and never asking them to change until they come to you and say, I'm so upset with myself for you being so loving and kind, and I'm always grumpy. What can I do? That's when you bombard them with advice.